What's up, guys and gals? It's your magical, mystical, mythical tyrant here, and welcome back to my weekly Q&A session where you guys ask the questions and I give you the answers. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the valuable time out of your day to be here. I always love this time of the week. You're such a great crowd. Thank you very much. It's been a fun week so far. We brought back dino fights, so we are now in season 2. We talked about Brontosaurus and also a new dinosaur that was spotted in the latest Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom trailer, so definitely check it out. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Matthew. He became our new legendary patron this week, our newest legendary patron this week. So thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you for your generosity. I certainly do appreciate it, and it definitely helps out. I also want to take a second to thank Doug Bingo again. So last week, I mentioned him. He became our newest heroic level donor, and this week he upgraded his account to legendary. So thank you very much, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully we can get the ball rolling on this so that we can save this site. And thank each and every one of you who have taken the time to donate. It certainly means a lot to me. And by the way, I do, speaking of patron donors, for those of you who are legendary or mythic donors, keep in mind we do have community game nights, and thank you, Chris, for reminding me. It's been kind of a crazy month with me being sick and all for most of the time, but yes, we do have a community game night coming up, so definitely check out our Team Tyrant thread in the community Discord, so definitely check that out. And if who is listening right now would like to become a patron donor, please check out my Patreon page. If for anything, check out the rewards. Maybe you'll find something there that you like, but it could help save this site in the wake of the adpocalypse brought on by companies withdrawing ads from YouTube and YouTube's not so great response to it. So I want to take a second to thank each and every one of you who've donated. We have a store too, so if you see something there you like, I encourage you to buy it. And again, thank you everyone here for your support. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Now, if you don't know how this works, it's quite simple. If you want a question submitted for next week or a future video, all you have to do is ask your question in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. And also, again, if you are a patron donor, that means that you also have access to our exclusive community Discord, and we have a special subthread there just for asking Q&A questions. So let's go ahead and get into it. Our first question of the week comes from Quantum Easy. I love that name. And Quantum Easy asks, Q&A, Tyrant, how did you first discover Halo? Also, what's your fondest memory related to Halo? Awesome intro thing, by the way. Thank you, Quantum Easy. I appreciate it. Glad you like the new site trailer. So, the way it basically worked was I was first introduced to Halo by my brother. At the time, I only had a PlayStation. I say that like that's a bad thing. I love my PlayStation. I played Resident Evil 3 almost every day. And doing speed runs. That was my first walkthrough type thing I did, but only for myself. So I did that. My brother at that time had all the next gen consoles. He had GameCube, he had PlayStation 3, and he also had Xbox. So he said, you know what, we need to have a game night. You need to come over, you need to check out these new games. The first one we played was Halo Combat Evolved. And of all the games we played that night, that's the one that stuck with me the most. That's the one I revisited. That's the one that I was so engrossed and just so taken with that eventually I saved up my money as much as I could for being 17 and scraped it all together and then went out and bought my own Xbox, my own copy of Halo Combat Evolved, and it's just a magical experience for me all around. So my brother's the one who introduced me into the franchise back in early 2002, so it had been out for a while. And of course, he also introduced me to the books as well, and I enjoyed Halo: The Fall of Reach. It's still one of my favorite books to date by Eric Nyland. And of course, after that, I read Halo: The Flood. I wasn't as thrilled with that one, but it wasn't by Eric Nyland either. So, but First Strike came out later, and I enjoyed the heck out of that. My favorite memory, I would have to say, yeah, the first time I played with Halo with my brother. That was one heck of an experience. We got all the way through Truth and Reconciliation, and I was hooked. So yeah, that's a great question, Quantum Easy. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. That just made me think of so many good memories. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Our next question comes from DB2 Guide. And DB2 asks, Q&A, if the Halo saga stopped after Halo 3's story, do you think people would be clamoring for Halo 4, 5, etc.? Of course they would. Why wouldn't they be? I mean, there's probably people out there wanting a new installment for Marathon. So, yeah, I'm sure they would. But I still think that, personally, if they had stopped it at Halo 3, I think a lot of people would have at least been able to look back fondly on the trilogy as a whole, and just, you know, it would be something classic that could be played time and time again. You know, they could have made it for PC, they could have done anniversary editions. You know, it just, the first trilogy was so solid that I wish they had just kept it there, but you know, that's not how it went. But what do you guys think? I mean, would you have been fine with them stopping at Halo 3? Let me know in the comments below. Our next question comes from Ryan Stairs. What are you staring at? And Ryan asked, do you think that 343 should port all the Halo games after Halo 2 on PC? Absolutely. I think that'd be a great idea. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're working on. I mean, keep in mind, Microsoft also owns Windows, so it's their platform. And if they see that Halo is dwindling in numbers and that Halo 5 wasn't just a blip, I can see that being the next logical step. You know, you already see the merging of Windows 10 with Xbox and all the features that Windows 10 has associated with Xbox. So I can see that coming at some point down the road, especially, you know, if the new titles aren't selling quite as well. Maybe the best thing to do is just to bring back the old ones. So yeah, that's what I think, and that's a great question, Ryan. Thank you. Our next question comes from Chief Burner. And Chief Burner asks, Tyrant, how would you feel about a Warzone Firefighter Bow, like in Warzone Turbo, that comes up from time to time? If I'm not mistaken, Turbo is where you have access to all levels of Rex from the get-go. Yeah, I mean, that could be fun, I guess. I don't know. I guess kind of the only problem is with that is the way Warzone Firefight is now, it sort of ramps up to getting to like the bigger bosses where you need the heavier weapons. I kind of would find it hard to need like an incineration cannon against crawlers and whatnot. It'd be interesting maybe to try out one weekend, but I don't think I could see it as like a permanent playlist, if that makes any sense. But as you said, Turbo is only there occasionally too, so you know, it might be fun every now and then. But yeah, that's really creative. Well, thanks for bringing it up, Chief. Appreciate it, man. Our next question comes from Ross AMD. And Ross asked, I want to ask you a question for another video. What do you think will happen to Team Osiris and whatever team the Arbiter is with? The Arbiter is actually with the Swords of Sanghelios. My theory for the next game is that you'll see a merging of the UNSC with the Swords of Sanghelios. So if the squad system returns, you will probably see something like Chief and Locke and Arbiter and maybe Buck. So as far as the individual teams go, hopefully they all, you know, become victorious in Halo 6. But yeah, that's all I got, Ross. But yeah, thanks for asking, man. Thanks for stopping by. Our next question comes from Caramel4. And Caramel asks, Q&A, this might be a bit far-fetched, but how would you feel about future Halo games, not necessarily major Halo titles, bringing back the health bar mechanic instead of just waiting for your shields to recharge? I'm not really sure. It was a cool concept in Combat Evolved. I thought what the health system was like in 2 and 3 was an evolution. You know, I preferred that method. When they brought health back in ODST, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm for this, but because it's an ODST and not a Spartan, I understood. And then they brought health back in Reach, and I really just wasn't feeling it. I felt like it was just something I had to go out of my way just to make sure I had that extra padding of armor, so maybe it's just me being lazy. Personally, I think the best health system, I know I'm going to get flamed for this, is the one we see in Halo 5. Basically, you have shields and health that both automatically recharge, and this means that your health isn't completely invisible to you like we've seen in other Halo titles. You actually know what your health is, but it's an auto-recharge system too. So I guess I'm preferring the Halo 5 version right now, but I understand why people might want the health one back. Either way, I personally don't want to see health packs return a future Halo title. So that's my opinion, but why don't you tell me what you think, Carmel, in the comment section below. Would you like to see your health, or have a health system again where it was similar to Combat Evolved and Halo Reach? Let me know. Our next question comes from Dale Lee Mixon, and Dale asks, Q&A, why do you believe Halo 3 through Halo 5 aren't playable on PC? Quite simply put, because Halo is a console seller. It's Microsoft's baby. The reason I think we had a Halo PC was to make Halo more accessible to people who didn't have an Xbox, and it might encourage them to buy an Xbox for Halo 2. And same with Halo 2. You know, Halo 2 ended on the cliffhanger, and so then they made Halo 2 Vista in 2006, I believe, or was it 2007? I think it came out in 2007, a few months before Halo 3 did. And quite simply put, Halo 2 Vista tanked. It bombed completely. In fact, the community was so small for Halo 2 Vista that I actually got to know the different people. There was only like 20 some odd servers up at a time. And so I enjoyed the tight niche community, but considering how much it failed, and maybe it was because it was released so close to Halo 3, maybe that's part of it. Whereas Halo PC was released like a good year or so before Halo 2. But I think at least the majority of the reason now is because, you know, it's a console seller, and it gives people a reason to buy Xbox. I mean, the only reason I bought an Xbox originally was for Halo Combat Evolved. But I think, like I said before, as time goes on and the Halo franchise it isn't as popular as it used to be, or maybe isn't the #1 game on Xbox anymore, that they could start migrating it to PC just so they bring some other people back and bring some new people in to the Halo community. So I hope that answers your question, Dale, and thanks for stopping by, my friend. Always good to see you. Our next question comes from CFunk99, and CFunk asks, since you can no longer do the Shrine movie, would turning it into a book be possible? I think the story of Shrine is a very interesting concept, and would love to see it in its full capacity. Well, thank you, CFunk. I certainly appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, who haven't seen the other Q&As, Shrine well, first of all, to get to the first half of this question, Shrine, it's not that I can't do it, it's that I'm not in a position right now where it's really feasible. I got to make sure I've got to have the time and the funding and people who are willing to support it and back it, as opposed to, you know, just winging it again. So, you know, I want it to be organized. For those of you who aren't familiar with Shrine, it's a film script that I wrote and filmed quite a bit of, actually, several years ago. I wrote the original script back in 2009. I rehashed it again a couple of years later. I got it copyrighted. The whole concept was that an insane person in an alternate reality became president of the United States. No, it was not based on anything recent. This is actually something I wrote a long time ago. And the hot button issue on the table is World War III. And so I thought it'd be a cool concept in this alternate reality. Halo doesn't exist. Microsoft is more of a weapons manufacturer, competing with Apple and all that sort of thing. It's an interesting theory, but basically it's an alternate version of our world, and an insane guy becomes president, and the whole concept of trying to keep him from doing something horrible is the main plot line, and just basically seeing how he becomes that person. Like how he goes from being a decent human being to society's abomination. So if the movie never gets made for whatever reason, could I turn it into a book? It's possible. I've already mentioned that I'm already sort of like working on getting another book published that I wrote a long time ago, and I'm still in the process of doing some edits for it, trying to update it. It's a book I wrote back in 1999. And so now I'm trying to update it for more of a 2018 point of view, even though it takes place in the future anyway. So that's what I'm working on right now. If it gets published and it's successful and Shrine is still in limbo in terms of filming, I will look at turning it into a book instead. It could be an interesting concept, and of course with books you can do anything you want to. You don't have to worry about, you know, budget and what's possible with the tools you have available to you. So it's possible, C-Funk, and I appreciate your words of encouragement, my friend. Thank you. Our next question comes from Nebulous Cheetah. It's such a cool name. And Nebulous asks, Q&A, what if 343 made a galactic conquest type mode where you could choose to be Covenant or humans, maybe even Forerunners against ancient humanity for total domination? I think it's a nice idea. I'm not sure if you're talking about like a civilization type concept or specifically what you're picturing. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who would play a game like that, and especially Halo fans. The only thing that I think would be sort of an issue is we already see that the Halo fan base doesn't necessarily translate to other game types very well. Like even if you like personally Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2, the sales don't even remotely compare to the AAA titles in the series. So I guess it could be an option, and maybe a mobile app or something like that. I wouldn't, you know, have them invest like a ton of money in it like they did with the other games, but maybe something, maybe like a successor to Halo Spartan Assault or something like that. But yeah, I don't see why not, Nebulous, and thanks for stopping by, my friend. Good question. And our final question of the week, our star question, comes from Maximum Rage Quit. I swear, every time I see this guy's name, I'm like, that is so awesome. I love that name, and it's how I feel every time I get dicked over on Mythic difficulty. And Maximum Rage Quit asks, Q&A, Tyrant, why do you like the squad system? Surely after this experience, you have changed your mind. So for what he's referring to, you have to look at the video that I posted yesterday. And, you know, some people ask, why didn't you make it a WTF moments video? And there's a couple of reasons there. First of all, I already have a video out there in the Q&A or in the WTF series where I didn't get revived by my teammates who were standing like 3 feet away. But this one was special. And again, check it out. It's less than a minute long. But essentially what happened here was I was playing Swords of St. Helios. I'm in the process of trying to do the mythic guide for that. And I got to the point where you are facing the jackal snipers, and there's 3 of them. And there's this one on the far left that likes to hide after you've taken a couple of shots at him. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out where he is, and he finally peeks out from cover. I take my shot, I miss, he hits me with almost supernatural accuracy, and I go down. Well, my teammates are right there. More specifically, Vale and Buck. And what made this so funny wasn't just the fact that they were so close and they could have easily revived me without any issue, it's what they were doing. So if you go back and look at the video, Buck is just sitting there. He's standing in one place. He's saying, "I'm taking fire," or something like that. He's getting shot up by the enemy like crazy, but he's standing there doing nothing. He's not returning fire. He's not trying to take cover. He's just standing there looking at them. And then I just watched as he just dropped and went into armor lock, or whatever it's called, armor failure. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Meanwhile, Vale isn't even paying attention. She's looking in the other direction completely. I don't know what she's doing. And Tanaka's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, yep, that's Fireteam Osiris in a nutshell. And so it was a hilarious moment. I thought it was a little bit beyond a WTF moment. It was just funny to me to see that happen. I wasn't even mad so much as like, yeah, that's got to go up on the internet. To answer your question, I do like the squad system. I understand, though, that why people don't like it, okay? Now, I personally enjoy it because I like having teammates always fighting by my side. In fact, that was one of the main draws to Halo Combat Evolved, having all those Marines help you out. And this time around, you actually have 3 Spartans that are up by your side the entire time. They can either be AI controlled or player controlled, and you've got different dynamics you can use with it to make it work. So it's kind of like trying to integrate Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six in a Halo. It kind of works to a point. The main issue that I have with it right now is the AI is terrible. I don't know if that was done intentionally or not, so that it was more balanced, or if it just needs to get better as time goes on. So I want to pitch this idea because I know that a lot of you, especially old school Halo fans, just don't like the squad system. You think that because the squad system's there, you can't have more mood-based missions like the Library or Cortana or 343 Guilty Spark, where really the setting and you being by yourself sets the tone for the entire mission. So I had an idea for it. For those of you who don't remember, a couple of weeks ago I came out with a video that talked about adding a new skull, the 14th skull that I call the Shutdown Skull. And essentially the ideology behind this skull was that once it was activated, it would remove Spartan abilities, so you could play like you would classic Halo. And that way you would have the best of both worlds. Someone who appreciates the classic gameplay can do so, and those who prefer the enhanced mobilities can have that option as well, and they can even use the skull if they want more of a challenge. So this would sort of be an expansion on that. Let's just say there is a squad system for Halo 6. Why not actually make it optional? Now hear me out on this. Now you could go through the game like regular, you know, by yourself, you know, going through, dealing with enemies, you know, completing objectives, that sort of thing. But you would have the option of having a squad up to anywhere from 1 to 3 additional AI players, or if you wanted to, you could have friends play as well, and you can mix and match. And the ideology behind this would be every time you add a AI character to your team, it increases the difficulty, or I should say that at the very least the number of enemies and maybe what enemies you fight. For example, if you add 1 squad companion to your team, just 1, it would raise the enemy count by say 25%. If you added 2 on your team, it would raise it to 50%, and if you added all 3, it would raise it 100%, so you'd have twice the normal enemies. And by doing this, the scaling thing, it would make it fair whether you decide to play by yourself or with 3 AI companions or with 3 human companions. I don't know how I would handle like who would be involved. I don't know if it would be like you could choose. That could be an option where you could choose who your squad mates would be. So if you for example, you're a big fan of Spartan Buck, he could be your squad mate. If you're a big fan of the Arbiter, he could be your squad mate. Or if it feels just right to have Locke there, since he was such a big part of Halo 5, he could be your squad mate. Those would be the main three that I would want. And maybe there could be other options too, maybe unlockables. That would be kind of cool, where if you complete an achievement or something like that, no rec packs in this, but if you actually complete like an achievement, you can unlock other characters that you could potentially use as well. That's how I think the squad system should be done, with additional tweaking to the AI to make them a little bit better and not just standing in the corner looking like morons. But if they were able to do this correctly, I think it would be best for both worlds. You know, again, if you're a classic Halo fan, the option would be there. Between that and the 14th Skull, you could play it just like an old school Halo game. But if you're someone who loves the new movement system and you love the squad system, you can play it like that too. Plus, you could do it with characters that you really do like and care about. That way, it would also sort of negate having to understand the characters more. I mean, I still say that you need to paint a more clear backstory for Spartan Locke, but at least you already know about Buck, you already know about the Arbiter, and I think all those could be potential options there. So that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping for. And I want to know what you guys think. You know, is this something that you could see happening in Halo 6? Would you like this type of squad system where it was optional, you got to pick your characters and just be able to customize your experience in the campaign all the more? Again, it would work if you're a classic fan, and it would work just as well if you're a new fan, and it would let you customize your experience. And I'm really curious to hear what you guys think, and if you would add to this, if what I already pitched sounds perfect to you, or if no, it's just too much, no squad system at all. I want to know what your opinions are. You can let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. A link to my Twitter feed can be found in the description below. And again, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this video today, to join me here in the Q&A. It's like a little community day every week for me. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're not already a subscriber, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I have new content almost every single day, and you can check it out right here on MythicTyrant.com. We have walkthroughs, lots of cool stuff for you, so I hope you'll stick around. I hope everyone here has a wonderful weekend. I will catch you all right back here next time, and as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.